Hey there, David Starr here with another episode of On Guitars with David Starr. Got a brand new guitar I want to show you, got a brand new haircut. Summer in Colorado, a lot of people think it's cool all the time. Been in the 90s here. Hope you're comfortable wherever you are. Today's guitar comes from our friends out in Bend, Oregon, the Bedell Guitar Company. Little history on Bedell. Tom Bedell, namesake of the company, was in the fishing equipment industry for most of his life. Did very, very well at that. But he was always a guitar guy at heart, and still is, clearly. So several years ago, he followed his muse and founded the Bedell Guitar Company. And the first of those guitars that I became aware of were all made offshore. And they were good guitars, but Tom wanted to pursue an American-built guitar. He's very, very passionate about sustainable woods and the whole business of following the guitar construction from the root, you know, to what you have here in your hands when you have one of their guitars. So, a great company, good people to work with, under the Two Old Hippies company name, which is a company owned by he and his wife Molly. They have a store in Nashville that's a wonderful boutique that not only has guitars, but it's also a really cool place to go and buy clothing, books, great stationery, candles, I mean, you name it, all that good stuff. Pretty nice, some very, very nice stuff. They also have a performance venue in the end of the building where I've played a few times. They've shot a lot of episodes of the show Nashville in there. So, pretty iconic spot there in the Gulch in Nashville. But the other thing they did was Tom acquired Breedlove guitars and Weber mandolins several years ago. So under that umbrella, they build the Bedell guitars, the Breedlove instruments, and the Weber mandolins as well. So all that's done in the Bend, Oregon facility, which is where Breedlove was to start with. The Bedell line and the Breedlove line, while they're built there, part company in this way. The Bedell line is more in the tradition of Martin and Gibson, more a traditional Golden Age sort of instrument, whereas the Breedlove line is a more contemporary instrument, not only in sound but in design. Some of their body shapes are different than the traditional shapes and all that. So, but talking about this guitar today, they have a series called 1964 series. Obviously harkens back to early days and some of Tom's early influences, I guess. And this one's called a 1964D for Dreadnought. So let's talk about it just a minute. You heard it earlier. Great big sound. Got brand new Kurt Mangan phosphor bronze coated strings on it. Great sounding guitar, lots of sustain. Starting with the back and sides and the neck. Back and sides Honduran mahogany, solid of course, with some nice tortoise binding. Neck is mahogany. It's got a nice satin finish on the neck, which I like. I've got a lot of guitars that have got a gloss finish, and I like that fine, but satin finish, little easier to navigate for some folks. I forget how much I like that until I pick one up and play it. I love this guitar. The top is a thing of beauty. Adirondack spruce with a nice, just ever so slight burst around the edges. I'm not even sure you could call that a burst, but it kind of is in terms of the way it was put on. Ebony pins, ebony bridge, nice rosette, ebony board, beautiful guitar, nice butterbean tuners in an antique finish. So it's got a really, really vintage vibe to it. And you know, I've got some nice old Martins and Gibsons. This holds its own with any of those guitars of any age. And less money and it's in good shape and it hasn't been beat up yet. So there's a guitar back here behind me. You'll see that's got the Colorado flag painted on it. We'll talk about that another time, but that's actually a Bedell product as well. They didn't come that way. I had it painted, but we'll talk about that on another show. But this is a really, really nice guitar, priced well below $3,000. This one's not one that's hanging up here in the hidey hole in my store. This is one that's hanging on the wall downstairs, and I liked it so much I thought it belonged in a discussion with these nice vintage guitars. So I want to take a minute and thank everybody for tuning in to this series over the past few weeks. Gotten a lot of good feedback. People telling me what they liked, what they'd like to see more of, and so I'm going to try to refine it and keep it going. A lot of guitars in this building, okay? A lot of guitars in this room. So every so often I'll pull one off the wall downstairs in the store, talk about that. I'm trying to use this area up here so that I can leave my rig set up. Quick note for anybody that's interested, I'm using a Mevo Start camera. I'm using a Warm Audio WA14 condenser mic, and I'm using a brand new Schertler Arthur Series Prime 5 mixer sent to me by the good folks at Swiss-made Schertler. And what a nice piece of gear. Really cool. Ergonomically really nice. Anyway, we're talking guitars here, aren't we? So this is the 1964 series Dreadnought, and they make an OM and a parlor. I'm going to have more of these guitars in my shop. Used to carry the Bedell guitars when they were an offshore brand, and finally, for whatever reason, just getting around to putting them back in the store. These wonderful guitars built out there in Bend, Oregon. I would urge you to check them out. This one's going to be certainly for sale if somebody wants it. Send me a note at david@starrsguitars.com. That's STARRS guitars.com. Thanks for listening. Give us a big thumbs up if you like it, and please share with your friends. We'll be back with more information and more episodes, so hang around this channel. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in.